How proud are you of Schmigadoon?
See, you shouldn't ask that question because I am going to get emotional, and especially with
Please?
Cecily here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it, I could not be happier with how it turned out with our amazing cast and everybody who worked on this. I am just thrilled. It was like I said, every day on the set was like a kid in a candy shop. And I can't believe that I got to do this. They let me write the songs. Who lets a screenwriter do that, you know? And so it was just the best experience of my life, the most satisfying, and I'm so happy. I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Yeah. Cecily, for you.
Hard to top that. I mean, it really was. We've loved, I've loved it for as long as we've been working on it, and just every person that was involved felt like the right person, and somehow we were all there in Vancouver during a pandemic making this show, and it was just that just added to how special it is, and to now get to share it. I mean, even showing the trailer to my stage manager at SNL, she just burst into tears, and she was like, "This
Oh.
is so perfect, and it's so perfect for you." It was like, I know, and I get to like saying, I don't book anything. I want to be here. I want to enjoy when this show premieres, and I want to feel it. I want to feel what it feels like when this show premieres.
It's funny that you said that because when I watched the trailer, I got goosebumps from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head. I got all teary-eyed. I'm like, this is what we have missed with the theater. And Cinco, you've combined these two incredible worlds of like, now and then. And I was like, how did you and Ken even come up with the idea? Was Brigadoon one of your favorite musicals?
No, and it still isn't. Um, um, I actually, when I had the idea, I hadn't actually seen Brigadoon, but I was aware of it conceptually, you know? And so I was watching, of all things, an American Werewolf in London, and it opens with the two guys backpacking. And I thought, like, oh, the opening, this is similar to what I've heard Brigadoon is. And I thought, oh, what if those two guys stumbled upon a musical instead of a werewolf? And then that was the beginning of it all, crazily enough.
See, I love this, and the songs. You should write a Broadway musical too. After you finish the TV series of this, bring this to Broadway. This is so perfect, and it's so needed right now.
Oh, well, that would be a dream come true. I actually, I turned the first movie I wrote, Bubble Boy, into a musical. And
Yeah.
that was my first entree. And I've written another musical that's getting its premiere next year at the Olney Theater. So, yeah, Broadway would be the dream.
Oh, it's right around the corner for you. I want to ask both of you, but I'll start with Cecily. Favorite moment on the set? I'm sure there were so many of you. Was it filming a musical number? What was your most favorite moment or one of them?
Well, I've spoken about Ariana's song a lot, so I will just say there was a moment towards the end where we were filming the big last number, and it was the first and I think the only time we got to have everybody, all of our main cast and our dancers and our singers and our background, everybody on set together. And it was so special, and it was moving because it was some people's rap days, and it was like, can you believe we get to have this right now and we get to be with each other? And I just remember like laughing at nothing with Keegan so hard every time they'd say cut. We were just like, just these like insane kids, because just the energy in that room. And it was just so, that's going to stay with me for sure.
Yeah, and I don't want to give too much away because this is towards the end of the series, but there's a moment where Keegan is crying and Cecily's crying and I'm crying. And it's just like every freaking time it got me. And I'll tell you, they are amazing actors, but I think in some cases those tears were just real. They were just really feeling the magic of that moment, and it was really just beautifully done, and it got me every time. I was a mess editing that scene. I'll have to tell you, it was by the end of the day, I was just exhausted because I'd been crying so much. It's sad.
It's funny. I talked to Barry, and he was like, I knew he wasn't a musical theater fan before going into this. And I was like, how could you not be a musical theater fan? But he was like, he said the Kristen Chenoweth number, her big, 4.5 minute number. He's like, that just blew him away, saying, my gosh, she did that like in just like a few quick takes and it was done.
Yeah, it was incredible. I can remember like the first day
Unbelievable.
on the set, Barry turned to me and said, like, just, I have a confession. I don't really like musicals. It's like, what? You're telling me now? And but by the end of the shoot, you know, we'd converted him.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, you did. Where did your love for musical theater begin? Cecily, I'll start with you.
Well, my grandma, we called Scotty, when I was little, she introduced me to a lot of musicals. We'd watch movies together on VHS. We watched Oliver and West Side Story, My Fair Lady, South Pacific. I had a crush on Lieutenant Joe Cable. And then my uncle is also a producer, so I got to come to New York, and it was a thing I shared with my dad. We would do a lot of, just he and I would take a trip together, and I saw Secret Garden and I saw Guys and Dolls. So it's always been a part of my life since as far back as I can remember.
Beautiful. Cinco, for you.
Yeah, I mean, my story is very similar, which was my mom played cast recordings all the time when I was a little kid, and particular Camelot, South Pacific, Guys and Dolls, and Oliver. Those are the ones I remember. And Keegan and I also have a very similar experience where we both saw Oliver when we were really young, and Consider Yourself blew us both away. And I remember I just went home singing. I wanted to be the Artful Dodger so bad, and I would just sing that song in my horrible British accent, you know, driving everybody nuts. And it just somehow, musicals hit me really early on, and I loved them. And you know, there's a point in my life when I thought I was too cool and I resisted them, but ultimately they pulled me back in.
Got it. Finally, I got to wrap up, but just very quickly, what do you hope audiences walk away with? Cecily, I'll ask you first.
I hope they walk away having smiled for 6 episodes, and maybe laughed when they didn't think they would, and cried when they didn't think they would. And I hope we made them feel good for 6 episodes.
Cinco, for you.
Yeah, I think it's all about joy and hope and believing in something, in the goodness in people's hearts and the potential for us all to be better than we are. That's really what's all about for me. So I would love if people were feeling that same thing.